This is David. He's an Ashtanga yoga teacher who does not have a massive audience online. He doesn't know an awful lot about marketing. He doesn't know how to run ads, but he made $33,000 in 5 days about 2 weeks ago. And if you are a yoga teacher or movement mindfulness coach and you want to get a fast cash injection into your business, I'm going to lay down the entire strategy for you. There are 4 steps in the strategy. I'll tell you exactly how we did it, so you can just go ahead and copy David and do it for yourself. Okay, so you might be wondering who I am. My name is Andy. I run a company called Impact. We help teachers like David build personal brands and make money doing what they love. We've got an agency where we do that with creators that have very large audiences, and we have a program called Impact Academy where we do this with teachers on any level. Now, before we get into the strategy, there are 2 things you need to know. Number 1, in order for this strategy to work, you need to have some kind of an audience. You don't need to have a huge audience. David has about 28,000. I think when we launched, he had 26,000 followers on Instagram and about 2,000 to 3,000 email addresses. And then element number 2 is this strategy works best if you already have online content. So if you're already selling like maybe an online membership or online courses, because we're going to use the material that you already have and we're going to bundle it in the most effective way possible and sell it in the most effective way possible to your audience. We've used this with a ton of teachers that have very small audiences, but we've also used it with teachers like David Robson. We've used it with Charlie Fallows, Daniel Rama, and a ton of others. Okay, so let's get into the strategy. All right, so as you can see here, this is the dashboard of the platform that he uses to sell his program. He made $33,000. We had 109 sales. That is a sales conversion of 2.7%. The first thing we want to do is we want to find out what the main thing, the biggest thing is that his audience wants to learn from him right now. That's step number 1. So the way that we do this is we run what we call an audience survey. So we send an email to his list and make a post on Instagram saying, hey, I would love to know what you want to learn from me. So we have a survey, and in that survey, we just ask people, what is your main goal with, in his case, we would say, what's your main goal with Ashtanga yoga right now? And then the second question is, what are your biggest struggles when it comes to accomplishing this goal? Okay, so in his case, the answers were something like, I want to learn about alignment, I want to learn specific poses, I want to build my strength, stuff like that. And then the struggles that people have are typically something like, I don't have time to practice, or I lack the proper guidance, or I can't stay motivated. So we run this survey because we want to know what is it that his audience wants to learn right now, okay? When we run this survey, we get answers about the main goals that his audience has. So we just look at all the responses that we get. His audience is not crazy big, so we got, I think, 60 or 70 responses from his audience, and it would break down exactly the main thing that they want, the second biggest thing, and the third biggest thing, right? So we get a breakdown of exactly what the biggest needs are of his audience, and we get a breakdown of exactly what the biggest struggles are of his audience. That is step number 1. Now let's move on to step number 2. So we know exactly what his audience wants. Now all we have to do is look into his existing library of content, of courses and material that he already has in place, and we basically take the answers from our audience survey and we take the content that matches these answers from his existing library, and we create the perfect product bundle, the perfect program or the perfect content for these specific goals. Okay, so what we did in his case, we created a flagship program. It's called the Ashtanga Revolution. It's basically his fundamental knowledge and wisdom and teaching around Ashtanga yoga. Why? Because the number 1 response that we got in the audience survey was that people want to learn the technical foundations and the essence and the basics of his approach to Ashtanga yoga. I'm not going to go into crazy detail exactly what the content is because it's going to be different for you, but essentially look at what the audience survey results are and then create a program based on that. So the idea of this program is we want to make this or position this as kind of like the flagship, the go-to thing of David. Like if you ever want to learn anything from David, now is the time, because this is the complete program that is going to teach you the thing that you want to learn from him. Okay. The idea is not to just create like as much content as possible. The idea is to make one flagship program around the main outcome that people desire, and then throw in bonuses based on other things that also came up a lot. And what happens then is you're creating a bundle that addresses all of the needs and all of the questions and all of the outcomes that his audience desires. We look at other results that we got in his audience survey, and we pick out more popular responses. And for example, in his case, we learned that they want to learn backbends. So we made a little program on backbends from the content that he already has. Another one was inversions. So, his audience was mentioning inversions. So we throw in another mini program on inversions. General asana alignment was another thing that came up. So we made another bonus around that, right? Now, step number 3. Step number 3 is to take everything that we have now. We've got the audience survey results. We created a program around the exact desire that his audience has. Now we just need to create a sales page. So for this sales page, there are a couple of elements that I want to walk you through. So first of all, we want to have a catchy name, okay? In this case, we call it the Ashtanga Revolution Pass. We made a cool design for this card. It's kind of like an access pass to this program. It just sounds cool, and you have like a name for it, right? So when you run a campaign, you can say, hey, this is the Ashtanga Revolution, and join this, right? So that's one element. The next element is the copy. So the copy of this landing page, we want to frame it around the responses that we get on the audience survey. So you can see the audience survey is really, really important, okay? We really look at the most common responses that we get, and we mention those in our landing page. So for example, in these sections, what we've addressed is the things that people brought up. So for example, they were talking about strength and alignment. We bring this up. They were talking about that they don't see progress, right? They can't stay motivated. So we address that. Transitions, floating and floaty transitions, jump back, jump through and all this stuff was also mentioned. So we bring this up too, right? So we pick up those responses from the audience survey and we bring it back into the sales page. Another element is video testimonials. We want to make sure that we have video testimonials on the page as well. For that, you can just message your students and say, hey, do you want to leave a video testimonial? That would be amazing. And you can even give them something in return. You can say, hey, a little private class or something. These are very, very, very valuable. Then we also have reviews. So if you have any reviews like Google reviews or nice comments from Instagram, put these in as well. Another element is a money back guarantee. We always put a money back guarantee on any offer that we run because it's a no-brainer. 1% of people are going to ask for a refund, which is negligible, but it really increases, and we measured this so many times, it really increases your revenue if you do this. And then let's see what else. Countdown timer. So what we want is, this is key, guys. We want this to be a one-off campaign. We don't want to run this campaign definitely not evergreen throughout the year. We want to run this maybe 2 times per year, okay? So it's a very, very short time frame, 5 days. That's why David saw this massive revenue spike, because we created all this value, like this super desirable offer, and we say only this week, right? 5 days, and we make that very clear by showing a countdown, and we mention it in our promotion assets, which we'll go into in a minute as well. Now, very important part, pricing, okay? What we do not want to do is we never ever want to discount things. Instead, what we want to do is we want to add value for free, right? Instead of discounting something, we just add more stuff to it so that it makes that offer more valuable and there's more perceived value, okay? Now, when we sell something like this, we always want to go mid-ticket. So we don't want to go low ticket. You never want to sell courses for $50 or $100 because you just have to sell too many in order to actually make money. So unless you have 100,000 followers, you're never going to make any money if you start selling your stuff for $20, $50, $100, right? So we want to go mid-ticket. $300 is a sweet spot that's been working really well for us. If you go too high, $500 or $1,000 for online courses, is just too high. Most people can't afford it. So mid-ticket has been the sweet spot for us, and you don't want to discount, right? So we actually did not discount. What we did is we had the flagship program, and we basically just stacked a bunch of other things on top, and $299 for a flagship program like that and a program bundle like that is good. It's actually more on the high end, right? Like most other courses that you see out there are way cheaper. Of course, when we stack the value up, we then say, well, this is the value that you're getting, but you're only paying $299, right? So this is the idea. All right, so we are done with the first 3 steps. Number 1, we did an audience survey. We know exactly what the audience wants right now. Number 2, we assembled a program that matches the exact needs that the audience has. And number three, we created an offer page that nails down on these exact things that people mentioned in the audience survey, that also has, actually I call them kickers. So the kickers are elements that make the offer more desirable and make the likelihood of people buying higher, which is a time pressure. So there's only a limited amount of time to actually get the offer. We have video testimonials, so we've got social proof and reviews. And we have a money back guarantee. So they can get a refund for the first 7 days after they bought it. Again, very, very few people actually claim that, but it really increases your numbers. And then you want to use the value stack, meaning you have a price that you set for yourself that you want to sell it at. In the case of David, we said we want to sell it at $299, and then you stack things on top and basically say the value is $1,099, but they're getting it for $299, and then it's 73% off, right? Which is, honestly, they're getting a lot for it. And it's super valuable content. It's just a win-win. It's really just a win-win. It's exactly what the audience wants, and they're getting a pretty good deal on it, right? Without David selling out or underselling his stuff below value or something like that. Now let's move on to step number 4. Step number 4 is, and you're probably wondering, well, how are we actually going to sell this thing, right? Now that's obviously a very important element. We have an offer that we know our audience wants at a price point that is strong. Now we only used 2 things to sell this offer. We used his email list, which, like I said, it was around 2,000 to 3,000 subscribers on his email list, and we used his Instagram stories. So all we had to do now is we created an email sequence of 5 emails, which were to be sent from Monday to Friday, 1 email every day, and 5 stories that we posted on his Instagram from Monday to Friday. And the story arch, is that a word? Basically the approach, the narrative that we used for this is quite important. So let me walk you through the narrative that we use when you run a sales campaign like that. Because what you don't want to do is, you don't want to just like blast buy now, like, 3 hours left, 2 hours left, 1 hour left kind of stuff to people because they're going to piss off and then they're going to like it, right? So the way that we do it is like this. Day number 1, 1 email and 1 story. And what we say is, hey, I just launched this offer. It's called the Ashtanga Revolution. It's the best thing that I ever put together. And it's exactly what you guys wanted. You asked for it and I made it. And here it is only this week, right? That's day number 1. It's the announcement of the offer. Day number 2 is gratitude. So on day number 2, 1 email and 1 story. And you just talk about, wow, this is amazing. Thank you guys so much for joining my offer. I can't believe how many people have joined. This is so great. You basically thank people and then say, hey guys, you still have the chance, if you haven't done so yet, to check out the offer, right? So you're basically just thanking your community for joining the offer, and anyone who hasn't done so yet can still get it. Day number 3, again, 1 email, 1 story. Now we're talking about questions. So here the angle is, hey, I've got a lot of questions about the Ashtanga Revolution. I've put together a page where I answer all your questions. You can check it out here. So no hard push. Just basically talking about this thing where everybody's asking questions. There's so much stuff going on. Now people are getting curious that haven't clicked yet, and they can click this link to get answers. And that link points to the sales page, because the sales page answers all the questions about the offer, right? Day number 4 is basically the announcement that the offer will disappear tomorrow. So you just say, hey guys, it's been a great week. I just wanted to let you know tomorrow is the last day where you can still get the offer. Just wanted to give you a heads up. Okay, that's day number 4. And then again, 1 email, 1 story, right? And then day number 5, you will just say, last day, last chance, now or never. That one's going to be a bit of a harder push, and you say, hey, this is the last chance. You have 12 hours, and then get the program here. So we've got 5 days. You're going to get a big spike of sales in the beginning on day 1, Monday, Tuesday. Wednesday sales are going to go down a little bit, and then Thursday, especially Friday, you're going to see another peak. Okay, and that's usually how it goes. And that's pretty much it. This is how David generated $33,000 in 5 days. With not a huge audience, to be honest, right? So $33,371, 109 sales at a 2.7% conversion rate for a $299 offer. And we didn't even add an upsell. We didn't add any order bumps or anything. And we've seen this work over and over again for people with different audience sizes. Obviously, if you have a massive audience, you're gonna get a lot more than that. If you have a smaller audience, you might get less. but it is by far the most effective way that I know that you can get a fast cash injection into your business while also providing a lot of value for your audience. Now, a couple of disclaimers that I want to give, or like a couple of things that are important to know before you go. First of all, the idea is never to run a discount. Okay, so what you don't want to do is you don't want to, for example, let's say you have a membership platform or you have like your flagship course already. You don't want to give a discount on this and turn this into like a 50% off sale, because what's going to happen is that a lot of people that would have otherwise bought over the coming months at your regular price are going to buy for this deal, and you're going to lose revenue down the road. Instead, what you want to do is you want to bundle, right? So you're taking your main offer, if you have one, and then add bonuses and create more perceived value this way, right? So it's super important that you realize that you should never ever discount your price, because you can really screw over your revenue down the road. Like, you'll give a spike, you get a spike in revenue, and then for the coming months, your revenue is going to be shit, right? We don't want that to happen. Okay, next one. I just want to stress, having a cool, catchy name for this it's really important. It just really works, because it helps people get a picture for like a desirable thing that they want, right? So we've used Ashtanga Revolution with David. We've used Ashtanga Secrets with David Robson. We've used the Black Pass with Daniel Rama. We've used the Dream Movement Pass with Charlie Fallows. We've done a bunch with other teachers whose names I'm not allowed to mention. So if you want our help to implement something like this, we have our agency and our academy program at Impact. You can talk to us. You can book a call below. No pressure at all. And these calls are usually just calls where we learn a little bit about you. We give you tips and pointers about like what you can focus on in your business right now. Totally possible that we'll never end up working together, but these are just like little strategy sessions to give you an idea of what you can do now. And we just want you to get a ton of value. And then if we end up working together down the road, that's cool too, but absolutely no pressure. Anyway, I hope you are getting value from videos like this. If you are, feel free to hit subscribe, hit like, leave a comment, ask questions. I'm super happy to engage with you as well. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.